There are only two things I can't stand in this world: people who are intolerant of other people's cultures, and the Dutch. Yes, this is Implicit Bias Radio. Yes, I'm Kavan Bordelon, and yes, we just started with a line from Austin Powers. We do love a joke, until unfortunately we realize we're just laughing at a crater, right? We love the absurdity until the absurdity has become the operating system. And unfortunately, we've been so terrified of sounding regressive that we've treated a structural collapse like a decorating problem. The truth is that we, in culture today, have a man problem. And no, I'm not talking about toxicity. Toxicity is a caricature. I'm talking about absence. A ghosting of the masculine spirit from the exact rooms that actually needed a spine. The dinner table, the boardroom, the pulpit, the community square. We didn't castrate culture with a manifesto. We just left the building and called it progress. I mean, look at the data. It's very, very simple. The fatherless home is the Swiss Army knife of societal disaster. Poverty, dropout, incarceration, you name it. But look past the spreadsheets and you'll find something much, much worse. Spiritual atrophy so advanced, the muscle has forgotten it was ever attached to a skeleton. We have a generation of men who are physically in the house the way that a coat rack is in a home. They provide a paycheck the way a vending machine provides a snack. The lights are on, nobody's home. They are the landlords of their own bloodline. And to understand how we got here, you actually have to go back before all the TED Talks. In Iron John by Robert Bly, he talks about the wild man and the moment we actually severed the living wire between fathers and sons. The Industrial Revolution didn't just invent the time clock, it invented the stranger father. We ripped the boy out of the man's orbit, parked the workplace on the other side of town, and turned the father into a roomer who vanished at 7 a.m. and reappeared at 6 p.m. smelling like exhaustion and someone else's fluorescent lights. Initiation, the actual sweaty eye-to-eye transfer of weight from one generation to the next, it got replaced by school bells, standardized tests, and a corporate quota that treats a boy like a future quarterly report. We stopped initiating our own sons. Nature, being the ruthless accountant that it is, filled the vacuum with whatever was cheapest. Porn, pills, video games, and a culture that claps when a man apologizes for existing. We no longer were raising men. We incubated large children with credit scores. Scripture is not polite about this at all. 1 Timothy 5:8, King James, no trigger warning. But if anyone does not provide for his relatives, and especially for members of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. The modern ear hears provide, and we picture a 401k and a decent dental plan. But biblical providing is not an insurance product. It's architecture. It's the load-bearing wall. If we aren't supplying leadership, protection, and direction, we aren't providing. We're just kind of the guy who pays the electric bill when the foundation quietly turns to mush. That's why the qualifications for church leadership are welded to the home. 1 Timothy 3:4-5, he must manage his own household well with all dignity, keeping his children submissive. For if someone does not know how to manage his own household, how will he care for God's church? The home is the proverbial laboratory. The family is the crash test dummy. If a man can't lead his own children with dignity and a spine, he's just a ventriloquist dummy when he stands behind a pulpit or a PowerPoint. You can't offer vision to a city if you're a tourist in your own kitchen. You can't actually hold the line at work if you've never drawn the line at your own dinner table. So how do we repair a void that started widening the day the first steam engine screamed and we decided fatherhood was a part-time gig? First, this. Mock, then mentor. For decades, the official treatment of the underdeveloped man has been ridicule alone. We roast the awkward teenage boy like he's a punchline instead of a construction site. We can shame the man who doesn't fit the current sanitized, focused group edition of masculinity as long as we then shelter and redirect the young male. We actually have to live by the Animal House rule. Hey, They can't do that to our pledges. Only we can do that to our pledges. Then we must protect our pledges to the death. The return of the mentor beckons the return of the ritual. Men, we have to stop waiting for a government pamphlet or a 3-day corporate leadership experience with matching lanyards. We need to initiate our young men again. Not a themed birthday party with a fake sword, a real moment where a man looks a boy in the eye and says, without irony or safe space, this is what it costs to carry the weight. This is how you stand between the wolf and the flock. This is how you hold the line when everything in you wants to sit down. We have to teach the next generation how to be men by showing them what they must be, not by handing them a laminated list of the things they're no longer allowed to do, say, or laugh at. Because until man walks back into the center of the home, until he picks up the burden in the church and the neighborhood, instead of maybe outsourcing it to institutions that don't love our children the way we do, they're not a missing demographic. We, unfortunately, are missing the keel. A house without a foundation doesn't develop a charming lean. It waits, then it folds. That joke? Kind of funny. The crater is not. So, gents, let's get to work on this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio. Weekly whiskey time on Implicit Bias Radio, coming to you from the TSPL. That is the top secret podcast lair located somewhere in downtown Lafayette. And yes, we have another pick. This one, a Proof and Wood Senator 6-year rye from the Implicit Bias Liquor Collective. But before we get to that, let's introduce you to the crew that's here. We're going to start at the bar. K&B is back. He's from Kennebra. Grant Galatas, who does Bigger Better Diamonds for Less.
Very nice to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you back here.
Good to be back.
We are recording on a different night than we normally record during the week, so hopefully this didn't throw off your routine too badly.
Oh, you know it did.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah,
That's why I said it.
I think you do it on purpose sometimes. You
No,
know I'm OCD about my schedule, my workout schedule, so I think you do that just to have fun with it.
I don't actually, believe it or
But
not.
I appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad you do, because they'll probably do it again. All right. Sitting at the bar with him is Paul Sabatier from Superior AV. That's audio video. Welcome back, Paul.
Nice to be back.
Welcome to have you back in the bar as we wear our, and look, for those who don't know, the in-ear monitors that we utilized, we got those through Superior AV. You guys do so much. It's not even funny. Not just home AV, commercial, security systems, monitoring, the whole 9 yards, correct?
Yes, sir.
Outstanding.
All custom for the person.
Outstanding. And sitting next to me, he is enjoying this 6-year rye a little bit too much already. He is the Rustic Renegade, Caleb Morse. Caleb, you seem like you're pleasuring yourself with that whiskey over there.
That is a great way to say it.
I mean, by drinking the whiskey.
Yeah, no, it's a treat.
Thank goodness there are certain things I can't see on this set.
It's one of my favorites. No doubt about it.
So this is not the first version of the Senator that we have had on this show. Proof and Wood puts out it's basically a politician series. There's the presidential dram.
You have the presidential dram, you have the cabinet, you have the representative, you have the senator.
You have the judiciary.
Then they have the ambassador, which I haven't had yet. There's quite a few different ones, and some of them are really, really hard to get.
This one, though, is only available at one place. It is a member of the Implicit Bias Liquor Collective. New News Markets, Youngsville, Scott, Milton, Maurice. And if there's one thing I like about a rye, it is this.
Everything?
Pretty much. But it's not necessarily everything. It's this. You can take a rye, age it 6 years, and you can get a maturity level that is so, for lack of a better term, representative of a 10 or 12-year bourbon. It's not even funny.
It ages so much better because typically, if you put a Spire or chips or anything else in there, you get an artificial flavor. Like you can tell that someone tried really hard to spruce it up, right? To church it up. And when you go with a rye like this, and you age it 4 to 6 years, it is just distinguished. It comes out so good. You still get that spice. You still get that alcohol, especially on this one. And it's perfect.
I love how oily this is. I love how long the finish is. It's got, and I'm going to say your favorite term, it's got a heavy mouthfeel to it. It doesn't just dissipate on the palate. It sits, it lingers, it's got weight.
So I actually came up with the perfect song for this.
Uh-oh.
And I think Walker needs to sing it.
Oh, well, we all know Walker can't sing, and Walker likes the Senator, so maybe we'll...
You ever, you're young. Did you watch Lamb Chop as a kid?
No.
This is the song that never. This is the ride that never ends. That's what this is.
Yeah, he has
Like,
no idea who Lamb Chop is.
It was a sock puppet. It was a little
Again,
sock puppet
he
that
has
was a-
no idea
For
who
my
Lamb
time.
Chop is.
Oh well.
Sherry Lynn.
This is
right.
the song that
Sherry Lynn.
never ends. Yeah.
All right, so let's
So-
go to the bar and let's see what the guys at the bar have to say about this new news pick, Senator 6-Year Rye. Grant, we'll start with you.
You said pretty much everything I think about this one. It's heavy, it's oily, very viscous, but very laden with flavor. It's good. I mean, you get there's so many flavors there. I looked up a little review on it, and they had 10 flavors in there. But you know what I hunt out? I hunt out the honey and the sweet and the caramel. I get the zesty orange.
Yep, I get that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's. I'm not gonna say hot because I don't want you to jump all over me for that. But it's rye. You can tell it's rye, which is not necessarily in my wheelhouse because it's again not hot, but it's strong.
This
And
does
I'm
have
trying
that.
to figure out the proof.
This does have that rye pepper.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so you're trying to figure out the proof. Why don't you take a shot and we'll tell you when we come
Yeah,
around.
I mean, I wouldn't think the proof is too high up on this. I wouldn't think above 110,
Okay.
You should be able to read that from where you are.
No,
It's
let
only
him
7 or
go.
8
Let him
feet.
go.
even with the glasses.
I was about to say, the Mr. Magoo glasses over there are not helping at that
No,
distance.
Come on, they're not that thick.
No, they're
my,
not.
That's my wife's glasses.
All right, Sabatier, I'm curious as to what you think of this one. You said you thought it was a little hot. Maybe the proof
Yeah,
isn't.
well, the rye. Yeah. So honestly, if I would have gone first, I would have said everything Caleb said. You know,
Oh, just
I
wait.
think
He's not
we
near
all know
done.
that.
When I say mine, Paul's gonna be like, "Oh yeah." There's a flavor in there that you just haven't
Well,
heard it
so
yet.
actually, I was gonna say that it's like a gobstopper. It's changing every smell I've done. It was something different. Every taste has been different. Like it's like, oh look, there that is. Oh well, no, this. So every sip is honestly changing. It's not my cup of tea, but I don't drink tea.
So believe it or not, I actually get some black tea notes on this. Like I get some hints of a dark black tea on this that I find really interesting. It almost lapses for me into a flat cola type flavor. Very much on the palate, and like we said, very oily. That hint of licorice on the back end, and you do get the rye pepper with this. I certainly get rye pepper with this.
The drops of water though, like it flattened it out. It's a lot better.
Couple drops of water and whiskey for you, our proofing water. Absolutely. All right, Walker, I'm curious. The Senator is one of your favorites. We'll give you an opportunity to talk on this week's show. So I'm curious as to what you think about this 6-year Senator. A pick from only available at New News Markets.
Really enjoy this. I get a little. It is definitely peppery, but I'm big in a rise, and like you said, the Senator is definitely one of my favorite whiskeys that we've ever had on the show. So, and this one definitely is up there.
So I've got to go back to kind of mine, which is that cola, that flat cola. I get that. I get almost a black tea on this. I get, obviously, you get that honey, you get that 5 spice, you get that rye pepper. This has so many notes to me that I think just absolutely are a home run. And you want me to tell Grant what the proof is?
Feel free.
Definitely over one. It's like got to be 120, 126. Somewhere.
124. Now, what I love, Grant, your reaction to finding out that this is 124 instead of, and you got to grab the microphone because I want you to talk about this, instead of under 110, or how shocked are you that this is that high of a proof?
Not so much shocked as depressed because the first year of the show, 126 would have put me into the table pretty much before the end of the first hour. It's nicely masked. I don't know if it's just masked behind the hard pepper.
It's just smooth.
Then if it's 120 something, that it is very smooth.
All right,
But
so
very good.
it is fantastic. It is time for the Mama's Bakery. I mean, what are we going to get?
You're close. You're close.
What are we going to get? It almost, okay, hold on. Mama's molasses cake.
You're getting really close. I'll tell you.
Like that's I'm waiting on it. So let's see how close I am on this one.
So on the nose, when I was smelling it, first off, it's one of my favorites. I get that immediate rye spice and bright citrus. I get it on the nose. Then a deep, rich, fresh, warm caramel, almost like a warm ice cream topping caramel sauce or something like that. And then on the palate, oh my God, soft and sweet first taste. Then that warm caramel topping, rye spice, almost like baking. But when I started going down the baking rabbit hole, I was able to pinpoint this exact flavor. Paul, how many MREs have you eaten?
Uh-oh.
I lost count.
Let's say you got to grab that microphone.
Lost count.
What was your favorite MRE dessert? It came, they think of the pound cakes and everything else that in the little flesh tone bags that you didn't use your mouth because you slice it open and look like the Joker the rest of your life.
The pound cakes. Yeah.
The lemon poppy seed pound cake.
Yeah.
That is the flavor I get off this. Is an MRE, like meal number, I think it's 62. It might be wrong. I'm trying to remember that one. But like meal number 62.
72.
But it's the lemon poppy seed pound cake because you get the lemon, you get the spice, you get that vanilla caramel that goes with it. Like, that is a dessert that I've had in some of the best and worst places and best and worst times of my life. And I was able to sit down on the back of a Humvee or on the side of the wherever and just have a small moment of rest and enjoy my lemon poppy seed pound cake. And that's what this is. That's the flavor I get, and that's the memory it brings back to me.
I absolutely see the bright citrus on this. The bright citrus on this it's almost acidic at the end. It hits you with that sweet, and then you get that bright acid that just wakes up the palate, and it makes you want another sip and another sip and another sip. And as Sabatier's over there going, yeah, this really isn't for me, and he's the first one done with his initial pour.
It was a small pour.
Oh, all right. No, that's Burley's shtick.
Oh, wait, we'll
Burley
fix
is
that.
short pour. We have more. We can absolutely fix that. And we are going to as we pass this bottle around. But that means that it is time for us to rate this on the Morse Whiskey rating code and to play What Would You Pay? For the What Would You Pay Championship Belt Chain presented by Box Drop of Lafayette. Okay, for the Morse Whiskey rating code for the uninitiated, because we still have some new markets, it's very simple. Red, I wouldn't drink it even if it was free. Yellow, I would only drink it if it was free. Green, I would buy this. Blue, I would seek this out. And for the What Would You Pay Championship Belt Chain, it's just whoever's closest to the hole. We love hearing estimates that are way above the price of a bottle because it tells us just how good the price of what's in the liquid that's in the bottle is. But, sometimes it goes astray. So it's just closest to the actual price wins the belt chain. So Grant, we'll start with you since you pulled the microphone. Number one, where would you rate this on the Morse Whiskey rating code? Red, yellow, green, or blue?
It's blue. I give it a blue. It's just it's very sophisticated.
Agreed. I like the word sophisticated.
Yes.
Absolutely.
$68. Sorry,
$68. All right. Sabatier.
Yeah, so it's not going to be that for me. It's going to be a green.
Okay.
I'd buy it. I'm just not going to sneak it out.
Okay.
I'm going to say 69, Bob.
All right. Walker, what do you think?
Definite
It doesn't
blue.
matter what you think. No, I knew it would be a blue.
Definite
Okay.
blue. 85.
85. Caleb Morse.
Blue, 100%. Like, to have it bring back that kind of memory, everything else, like, I need this in my collection. And I think I'm down to my last bottle of it anyway, so...
Well, this might not be the exact same pick that
it
you
won't
got.
be the same one, and this
Correct.
has got the lemon poppy seed flavor that I'm after. So this is what I need. So definite blue. Walker, you got me. $93.26.
So we have $68. We have $69. We have $85 and what, $93.65? 20 cents. All right. So first of all, my rating, this is a blue. This is absolutely a bottle that if it's not on your bar, it should be. You should seek this out. It is absolutely fantastic. And man, could you imagine this? Making a Sazerac cocktail out of this? Could you imagine making an old fashioned out of this? Because it's got that sweetness to it. Grant's like, I could not make 115 proof old fashioned.
No, that's not the thing with so many flavors.
Yes,
Really?
absolutely. Because the flavor profile is already conducive to an old fashioned. And the orange, the bitters, the simple syrup, the sirop de saison is just going to bring that out a
It'll
little
make
bit
it
more.
pop. Like this
Correct.
would be so layered.
Yes, it will absolutely blossom like the delicate flower that it is. All right, so it's a blue, number one. Number two, the winner of the What Would You Pay Championship Belt Chain is Grant Galatas, because this is $59.99 at New News Markets in Youngsville,
yeah.
Scott, Milton, Maurice. Grant is so thrilled to wear the What Would You Pay Championship Belt Chain. Yeah, go ahead, Grant. You can put it on.
Use both hands.
It's crazy because I should have learned from the last time I was on. We were all in the 80s and 90s, and I can't remember which bottle. It might have been this Four Roses.
Might have been.
Yeah, that it was like $20 or $30 underneath. I'm very happy.
Yeah, I'm aware that you are.
It's a smoking deal. It really is. Too.
Cheers to you. This is a smoking deal on this bottle. Get them while you can. and come back for more Implicit Bias Radio. We are 86ing the garden on this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio. Grant, you waited tables, didn't you? You spent time in restaurants.
Those
starting
were
at
at
14 years old.
Yeah.
In New Orleans.
Yeah, you and I both spent time waiting tables
Larry
in New
Flint's
Orleans.
place, wasn't it?
Yeah, no. Grant is of an age. Larry Flint wasn't even around at that point.
Oh.
Not with clubs, anyway.
Oh,
Correct?
that's correct.
Yeah. So New Orleans. Okay, now we're going to go down a quick rabbit hole. New Orleans did have, and I say rabbit, pardon the pun, New Orleans did have an actual Playboy club back in the 50s, 60s, somewhere around there, didn't it?
Whoa,
I
downtown?
believe it did. Yeah, down in the
don't
quarter or
remember.
somewhere around there.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I
never heard
wasn't
that.
alive. I've seen photos, and I could have sworn New Orleans had one of them.
Unfortunately. Because when
Unfortunately.
we got there, it was 18 years old, so I'd have been down there at 17 years, 11 months, 29 days.
Of all the
no,
places,
seriously, I
New
don't-
Orleans would make sense to have that kind of location. I mean, look what Bourbon Street's known for. So.
Given what New Orleans is, Grant would have been in there at 14 because they'd have looked at your driver's license and gone, yeah, go ahead in. They wouldn't have cared. I mean, that was pretty much New Orleans and what it was.
That was pretty much most of Louisiana up until like 1999.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
fair.
But I don't know. That might have been a little too sophisticated for New Orleans style.
Not back then.
Because
Not
you had
back
what?
then.
You had clubs in what? Vegas, Los Angeles, and New York.
I know you had them there. I could have sworn they had one in New Orleans. We'll double check
Yeah,
it.
we'll have to
and
check that out.
I'm curious to see
I
where
didn't
they
realize there were some Playboy historians here.
Dude, we grew up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I mean, what dude doesn't know?
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry we weren't all flocking to play girl like you were. Anyway, let's
Look, I
go.
was the cover of Playgirl 2002.
All right, so the 86
I made that up,
reference,
Walker.
Grant, the 86 reference. If you worked in a restaurant, Caleb, I don't think you ever worked in a restaurant.
I
you?
did. They didn't put me up front, but I did.
Okay. So, Paul, you worked in a restaurant? He's nodding his head. Can somebody tell me what 86 meant? Paul, can you tell us what 86 meant?
Yeah, scratch it.
Scratch it, which meant, what was another word in the kitchen that they would use for it when they would tell servers 86 whatever? They'd say 86.
Do y'all really know where 86 comes from?
Or they'd say kill it.
Yeah, you know where 86 comes from for that kind of thing?
No.
6 foot deep, 8 foot long. That's the size of a hole that you put a body in.
Well, then wouldn't it be 68? Because you just said
86.
six.
Well,
oh,
8 feet.
8 feet long, 6 feet deep.
deep.
Okay.
Yeah, so when you dig a grave, it's 86.
You don't go 6 feet down and then start
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
sideways.
Yeah, when you dig a grave, that's how you dig it. Also, similar, that's how you dig a fighting position.
Very interesting. So,
Okay. To clear up the confusion, in restaurant lingo, it is said to eliminate.
Yes.
Correct.
To leave off.
Correct.
But it is also, over the years, in cinematic terms, has meant eliminate or kill.
correct. Well, even in restaurants, I
Kill
mean,
it.
in the
Yeah.
90s, they'd say kill
Yeah,
whatever, kill
Yeah.
the fish of the day because we're out.
We knew
86 it.
Exactly. We know what the restaurant terminology was, but we also know the other uses for the word.
Correct.
For the saying.
You don't have to be a rocket scientist, and this is the point, to figure out what the term 86 means.
I think like probably 86% of the population knows what it means.
Well,
But only 20% know that.
Oh, valid. Yeah.
it apparently needed to be researched by a very specific person because look, the whole 8647 James Comey investigation, I don't think that's going away. I think that investigation is going to stick because y'all might remember a former director of the FBI posted on his Instagram a picture of the beach with the letters 86-47
Out of seashells.
correct out on the beach.
Yeah.
And tried to claim, that it didn't mean kill the current president, right? As our current president is often referenced as 47. And a lot of people are saying, oh, you can't possibly, that's just dumb. You can't prove, as our favorite internet person would say, hold up, wait a minute, because now the communications are coming out, some of those communications look awfully damning.
Well, I mean, and look, how stupid do you think we really are? Right?
Well, this is the point. The left
Yeah.
believes that you are actual morons,
Yeah, well, yes, they do.
and they believe that we are morons.
Yes, the far left believes that I can't figure out which hand to wipe with, and that I struggle, right?
And you don't know what the three shells are for.
Yeah, I mean the 3 seashells are very difficult, but they think that we're all that stupid, and there are some of them, very few, that I'll have conversations with, and they're like, "Well, I don't mean that about you, Caleb." I'm like, "Well, no, but you'll generalize me with everything else, but being stupid isn't one of them? Well, yeah, no, you're different. But when I try to generalize them, they get all upset, and then they get upset that I don't see it the same way. That's how this is. This is someone who's saying, well, yeah, everyone else is stupid, but you're catching on. You're catching on, but everyone else is dumb. And if they really think we're that ignorant, well, then they're really that ignorant.
I think there's a little bit of a sleight of hand that's attempted here. And this is what the left does with language all the time. The left likes to take words and put them out there and go, oh, no, that's not what we meant. We were trying to be all nice and kind and caring. We didn't mean try to assassinate a sitting president. They try to use plausible deniability as their scapegoat. And therein lies the problem, which is now they're getting their bluff called, especially when you can prove that that's not what they were doing. Grant?
I agree wholeheartedly with that assessment. I dug up an old interview where somebody on MS, nobody gives a crap, had Comey on, and he flat out admitted this is the week that my book was coming out. So I think it was several pronged for him, because he said he was walking down the beach with his wife and came upon this. And as they looked at it, his wife, who used to work in the service industry many, many moons ago, told him what the reference to 86 was.
Which service industry? Which service industry did she work in?
Restaurant. Yeah, that's not.
You sure? Yeah. Anyway,
but it's multi-pronged again, because he was trying to get attention for his book. So there's no better publicity, free publicity for your book than to put your name all over the news for the 8647 Post.
But I love what you said, and what you said was part and parcel to proving that he was lying, that he was not telling the truth, because you said, according to him, he happened upon it upon the beach. And this is why the government documents that have been released and been unredacted, please don't believe us, please go look this up, prove that Jim Comey is a lying liar. Here's how we know. Because communications between he and his wife days before and leading up to this incident are talking about what? They're talking about what the term 86 means and confirming what it means in a text conversation.
Right, and he made it sound like they innocently came across it, so his wife had to explain what the seashell formation meant.
But the problem was they were having conversations about this days before he allegedly came across it.
How dare you think that the director of the FBI would lie? I mean, come on.
Hey, just so you know, Caleb, no reasonable prosecutor would prosecute Hillary Clinton for what she's done with her emails and the servers. So we're saying there's nothing to see here.
But look, like I said, it's multi-pronged. Because if that little message that he just happened to come across hits the right lunatic the right way out somewhere in the public, like crooks,
it plants a seed.
Yeah, it sets that person in motion.
What do you mean the right lunatic? The dude has enough followers that all it has to do
the left
is
lunatic.
hit 3/4 of his followers, and now all of a sudden he's got something viral that helps push his book. Thank you for bringing that up.
Well, and look, people, we should be frustrated by this. And people should be frustrated by if it was 86, 45, 46,
Agreed.
47, any of it, we should all be just as upset, right? Because this is not the behavior that we should expect from the director of the FBI.
Agreed.
So all I could think of really was Elizabeth Warren, whenever she was doing a podcast or whatever. And
Pocahontas?
with the drinking a beer, and her husband walks in, "You want a beer?" And like, he didn't know what was going on. Like, it's so how out of touch every single person in the government is. They have no idea what normal people do. And honestly, I'll believe it when I see it, because they jab COVID up our ass way faster than I've seen anything else ever happen, like anybody getting in trouble.
So here's, first of all, I love what you bring out. And you bring out something that I don't know that they're out of touch. I think they're arrogant. I think the elitist attitude
Probably both.
believes at such a level that they operate, or they think they operate, so far beyond anyone in the American public that they can say something and people will automatically swallow whatever is put in their mouths. And this is why I say that. This goes back to reality TV. You want to see reality TV, you want to see reality broadcast, this is us. And yes, Caleb, I made that reference on purpose.
I'm holding it in. I'm holding it together.
I'm not touching that one either. Man, I've got so many that I just can't do because we are on some sort of, respectable broadcast. Anyway, you want reality TV? This is literal reality TV. The only thing we do is send out topics a few days before the show, and we sit here, and this is as real as you're going to get. None of this is overly scripted. The monologue is the only thing that I write out prior to starting the show.
Takes him 4 hours.
But that's me. Oh, God, it probably takes me more than that.
With crayon, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a Marine.
I was talking to someone the other day, though. Someone I was talking
That's
to.
just for you, Sabatier.
It was yesterday, the day before. They were like, well, how much of the show is scripted? I'm like, well, we send out topics.
That's it.
So, like, when you get this kind of conversation, this is genuine conversation.
But here's the bigger problem. The American populace has been conditioned to believe that reality TV is real and spontaneous. It's not. It's not real and spontaneous. So when Big Chief Wampum Ass walks in, right, because he's married to Pocahontas, and says, oh, I had no idea you were here. Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't see the 15 people crawling around your house all day, setting up lighting and microphones and the set so that everything looks perfect, and then you pretend like nothing's going on and you had no idea this was happening in your home? Don't give me that line of garbage. You knew. You were told what your cue was to walk in through the door and act surprised. This is the sad part about where we are, and I believe this is what Comey was trying to take advantage of. When you say it's double-pronged, there's a financial incentive. Mm-hmm. There is the incentive that I think is even worse than just the notoriety and his desire to get one lunatic to go, oh, yeah, we should assassinate the president. I think it's this. I think the other factor of that is I'm going to keep feeding it to the people who believe it so I can keep them hooked. Because if I tell the lie enough, people are going to say, well, this is the truth. And that, to me, is the big problem. And that's why I am praying that we see a full-on prosecution of this, as opposed to just the release of documents and proof that he's a liar. I'd love to see legitimate cuffs on this one.
It confuses me so much because when you look back at when we were founded, right, as a nation, our founding fathers said, don't trust the government, right? When you look back in the 30s and 40s, the politicians then said, don't trust the government. When you look back at the 60s, the far left was mainly saying, don't trust the government. And now, when we're all trying to say, don't trust the government, people on the left are saying, well, you should trust the government.
Well, what's crazy to me, and this is how this ties into the monologue, where we have a man problem. The same men that created stories like Star Wars, where literally you had the rebellion fighting the overreaching government of the empire, where you had Rage Against the Machine, which has now become Rage for the Vaccine, right? I mean, what happened to you? Did you buy into the system? Because now we have done a poor job of teaching our young men, don't trust them. I mean, literally, at least we had Public Enemy, don't trust it, right? I mean, at least they put it out there. And it's going to tie into a story we have later on this week's episode, because I think maybe the man problem is solving itself. We're going to come back. Another great story. Final segment of hour one of this week's episode of Implicit Bias right after this. Implicit Bias Radio, final segment, hour one. I'm your host, Kevon Bordelon. We are sampling a beautiful blue weekly whiskey from our weekly whiskey partners at New News Markets, Youngsville, Scott, Milton, Maurice, part of the Implicit Bias Liquor Collective. Grant Galatas did not go through the window. However, we did break glass here in the TSPL. Love it.
Someone tried to 86 him.
Correct.
Just giving a nice visual representation of one of the stories.
No, you know what that was? I just happened upon that on the floor of the TSPL. Somebody had just put it there. Yeah. I didn't. I had nothing to do with that. I promise. Nothing. Sure. All right. So we're going to go ahead and talk about this because we kind of teased it in the last segment, and we've got some stuff for the end of the show, which will always kind of be a little more fun. But when we talk about having a man problem, one of the things that we have constantly said on this show is that we didn't do a great job, maybe even in our generation, of ensuring that the young men that we raised don't trust the government. We needed to teach that, and societally, I think maybe that got skipped. The area where we kind of all grew up did a pretty good job of not trusting the government, but I think maybe we did a better job than we thought. Why do I say that? I say that because for the first time in, 36 years, Alice in Chains is back on the Billboard charts. It is a massive massive entry of grunge back into the zeitgeist of the American male, that hard testosterone fueled rock and roll
You're welcome.
might be back.
I take full responsibility for that.
And how and why would you do that? You got to turn that microphone.
Because my kids, they play PlayStation and they put their music on so that they all can hear in their chats, and they got into the grunge and
Yeah. No, look, my son is a musician, and I don't know what we did right, but at 10, when he started taking drum lessons, so we are talking 2016, I believe what he told his drum instructor was, modern music offends my ears. I like real music like AC/DC, like Alice in Chains, like Led Zeppelin. I mean, for those who don't know and for those who've never heard the story, the opening bump music of this show and the closing bump music of this show is Led Zeppelin's version of When the Levee Breaks. That's in partial tribute to my son because that is his type of music. So I almost wonder a couple of things. Number one, and Caleb, you have one who's still in high school.
Yep.
Is the young American male on his way back?
Look, I hope so.
mine are.
And I think that we here in the room are raising ours to be the kind of people we are, except for you, Walker. You're not there yet. But
And nobody would want that.
Yeah, when you look at like "Man in the Box" is like number 24 right now.
Yep.
And that's a song about government overreach, about censorship, about being kept under the thumb. And when we look at what our government is doing and what it's been doing for the past 40, 50 years, that's all it's been doing is government's been growing and growing and growing to where before long we're going to have more government than we do people being governed.
We can thank the Democrats for this one, actually. Because with the last election, Trump did so well with young males. Young males got so disenfranchised with how they were represented in the media, in television shows, in everything and anything. They realized it, and they brought it to the forefront themselves when they wheeled Tim Waltz out, putting a shotgun shell incorrectly.
Oh, my God.
And leaning under the hood of his truck and pretending like he could actually fix something. So it was the Democrats with their toxic male message that actually helped Trump with the election and brought all of this back to the forefront. So, yeah, I hope everybody goes grunge again because we could use a little shot of testosterone.
So I said this in the monologue that the toxic masculinity moniker, it's nothing more than a caricature at this point. I mean, at one time we thought about actually naming this show Toxic Masculinity to make fun of the term. Because at the end of the day, don't get me wrong, you've got guys who are bad people. You've got women who are bad people. You got women who murder their kids and want none of the blame for it, right? And I'm not saying guilty, innocent, things don't happen, didn't get medical support. They're all different things. But my point is you have bad people everywhere. But calling masculinity toxic was the beginning of the end for the left, I believe, because to your point, Grant, they created us. They created our sons who are now like, I want nothing to do with the crazy. I want what my parents have, which is a stable family that I am willing to go out, be a bullet shield for, sacrifice for, and be a consumable commodity to make sure that that way of life still exists.
Well, look at how few young men and women are getting married today, right? Because young men are tired of being the whipping boy of the world. They're tired of being held at blame for everything whenever they're called for help for everything. Look at our sons. Look at our sons that we have and how they interact and how the world is with them. I apologize to my kids. I say, I'm sorry that I'm raising you the way they am because the world's going to be hard. It's going to be really difficult for you because I'm raising you the way that I should have been raised. I'm raising you I'm raising you the way that I believe the Bible says you should be raised. I'm raising you to have conviction and spine. I'm raising you to be a provider and not take gumption, not take lip, to be the man that you should be. If toxic masculinity was really a thing, you wouldn't have ladies. You wouldn't have calendars of firemen, soldiers, policemen, construction workers, and all that. You would have. Hey, how many of your wives, and you can talk about Kennedy on this too. How many of them do you think would say, "I want to buy the sexy dentist calendar this year"? None, because it doesn't exist. Because women don't sit down and fantasize about an accountant. They want cowboys, they want oil field workers, they want construction men. They want men that have emotion, men that have pride, men that are willing to get down and dirty. That's what they want. You're going to say yes, aren't you? You're going to say you want an accountant calendar, Walker? I see it. Yeah.
Walker wants the accountant calendar, not Kennedy. The crazy part of all of this goes to, I think, beyond what you're actually saying. Because if you think about the paradox that is toxic masculinity, it's not just that you wouldn't have the Chippendales at one time. For the ladies who know what Chippendales were, and Chris Farley did a fantastic job with that skit on Saturday Night Live, you wouldn't have the left at all. Because if you had truly toxic masculinity, those men would have stomped you out, lit you on fire, and laughed all the way to the bank, taking your lunch money and everything you could possibly have. Because that's what truly toxic masculinity is, right? Those are just bad people. It's not bad masculinity and machismo, as many cultures would put it.
Yeah, but we've kind of been in that transition era, because it's not necessarily that they were killers and molesters and abusers, because you had the era of John Wayne, and you had the era, remember Sean Connery, I think it was Bill Burr, the comedian, who said Sean Connery, he came up and he was doing an interview with Barbara Walters. He was like, well, I was from the age where you just give them a slap.
He did. No, go look this up. It's
Seriously.
I say it's a fantastic. It's a really interesting interview because he literally clearly defines what his perception of how gender should be treated, and when people step outside of their lines. Like, he probably would have argued that a man who steps past his boundaries should probably be slapped by a woman. He says, look, that turnabout is fair play. Now, should we hit women? No. I do not believe that we should hit women.
That's my point, because we're in the transition period where that's the way it was. She gets crazy, she gets out of her head, just give her a little pop back into reality. But that's just that was somewhat the norm. So thank goodness we've transitioned to where we've finally realized, you just don't do that.
No. On the same hand, we went so far, the pendulum swung so far in the other direction that it got out of balance, right?
Absolutely.
And if you don't have that balance between the masculine and the feminine outruns it, or the masculine outruns it, you have a society that is not in a good place.
Well, we have a society that's afraid of violence right now. Like, look, if your kid gets in a fight at school and they stand up for someone who's being bullied, your kid, who was the hero, is going to get suspended or expelled because of zero tolerance.
If your kid fights back against a bully, your kid is still going to get suspended.
And
how
that's
dumb is that?
We've stripped it down so much that common sense doesn't exist anymore. Like, am I saying it's okay to fight? Yes. Yes, I am. If there's a reason for it. Is it okay to slap somebody for nothing? No. But you should have principles. You should have morals. You should have something you're willing to die and fight for. And if you don't, then you'll die and fight for nothing and anything.
And you will sit at home at 38 years old.
And not at your home, your parents' home.
Asking mom for more meatloaf. Mom, meatloaf! Right? Worried about the fact that your Nintendo might not be charged, waiting on that check from somewhere to support you, instead of doing what we are supposed to do as biblical men.
The Bible says if a man doesn't work, he shouldn't eat.
Which is lead your family, provide for your family, protect your family. That is the loss that we have experienced in the last, and it's crazy how quickly it's happened, because I really believe it accelerated from 2008 to 2026. That, to me, was the great turning point of where this really started to take hold, was 2008, when all of a sudden the enemy of everyone was the man who stands up to try and protect others.
Well, that's the same man they asked for help. That's the same man they asked to answer the call, to go overseas, to what I use the term fight the enemy, to pay the bills, to do all this other. We have a world that just glorifies being a stay-at-home baby popper outer. Not a mom. You're just a baby factory that collects a check from the government and her baby daddy. Not your husband, your baby daddy. And we have eroded the fact that a true marriage based upon biblical love and affection for one another and joint responsibility is the wrong thing. And that's not just the erosion of masculinity, that's the erosion of femininity as well.
I think the statistic, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, is that roughly 50-ish% of young children or of under the age 18 will grow up in an incomplete family unit. And that is a crime maybe greater than most of what we see happen today in the halls in D.C. If you do not get hour 2 of Implicit Bias Radio, Call your radio station. Call your TV station. Tell them, hey, we want more Implicit Bias Radio. Why? Because we want to see you in 7, or because Hour 2 is always more fun on Implicit Bias Radio. Cheers. Hour 2 of Implicit Bias Radio is always more fun. Why? Because the weekly whiskey's been flowing. Some problems of the world have been solved. And yes, we are going to come up with more stupid stuff to talk about. I am your host, Kevon Bordelon. And yes, we are in the Mr. Lester's TSPL. We've got Caleb Morse. He is the Rustic Renegade, who apparently is now excited. Anyway.
Whiskey.
Well, you do like your whiskey,
Yep.
and thank goodness that's the only thing you're excited about. All right. At the bar, we've got Grant Galatas of William S. Nacall Jewelers, who does big a bet of diamonds for less. Yes, stand up, Grant, because apparently the issue that we had with the chair here, you almost went through a window. That was impressive.
If I had to put money on it, I would have bet it would have been in the second hour
Yeah,
until I lost balance.
I would agree, but no, that one, thank goodness you didn't go completely through the window. We're
You're
glad to
welcome.
hear that. Paul Sabatier of Superior AV, it's good to have you back with us. Hope you're enjoying being here.
Yeah, I had to save Grant.
You rushed in and tried to give him mouth to mouth, too. I was impressed by that.
Which just begs
And
one
he
question.
pushed me away. I know. What the hell?
It begs one question. You saved Grant. Why? No, I'm kidding.
K and B.
All right, he is K and B from Kennebra. All right. There is a computing system. Like, there's a lot of talk on the internet about like Web3 protocols and things of this nature that will make things more secure, that it will be able to tokenize everything. And then there's this discussion of quantum computing. It's tied heavily into cryptocurrencies because you're now hearing people say quantum computers can break Bitcoin codes and things of that nature. Well, now you've kind of got a breakthrough. Please don't believe us on this. The story is out there that there exists potentially an internet without the full internet.
Dude.
Quantum entanglement to send information over a geographic space without using the radioactive Wi-Fi signal.
I'm learning so much reading about this. Like, I didn't realize the difference between a quantum computer and a regular computer, right? So, regular computer speaks binary, 0 and 1s. Quantum speaks in qubits, which is a combination or a correlation of 0 and 1s at the same time. So, when we look at quantum internet, it's transferring information via photons, not electrons.
Correct.
That's wild. Like, that is ridiculous when you think about it.
And here's the deal. So for those who don't know, just the natural atmosphere has photons all over the
it.
place.
Yeah.
So as it transmits information via photon, you don't need necessarily a Wi-Fi or internet signal to transfer said information.
Or a wire.
Well, obviously you don't need a wire.
Yeah.
But what I'm talking about is right now, think about the ways that we transfer most
That's-
information.
But that information is just wireless to your house or wireless to the tower. There's network lines from your house to the central station, which then goes to the hub and everywhere. Like, the wires are the main part of your Wi-Fi.
Well, and when you look at quantum internet, quantum computing, and what we have now, like for what we do for the most part, your regular computer is a better suited tool, where quantum computing would be better for like molecular drafts and very complex things because of the data it consumes and the way that it communicates. So when you look at HDMI cables and everything else, how we transfer that kind of data and we set up your TVs and all that kind of stuff, what we have works really well. The technology isn't there for the consumer yet to really need or have a good application for quantum computing or quantum internet at that point either.
Much like the consumer didn't need a flat screen HD TV 26 years ago, but they were starting to roll out. They were $20,000 for a 46-inch plasma TV that today you can buy light years better technology for $500 at your local big box store.
And Paul, like when we look at a TV, right? Like some of the big TVs that are getting installed, some of the stereos and that kind of stuff you do, what's the typical, like, do we really use a 4K TV? Does everything get transmitted in 4K?
No. There's barely anything actually gets transmitted in 4K. Even with your streaming technology, they're reducing audio sounds, video quality, so that it can get there to you faster, so it doesn't spin.
Okay.
Even if you got a CD, it would still reduce a lot of
The
noise.
data or the
the highs and lows to kind of cut off that extra stuff so that you can fit it all on even a CD. But I think it's actually interesting because if you can do that, if you don't need the wires, you don't need the go through it. That's kind of what crypto is. Crypto is randomized.
Correct.
People certifying something. So if you can do it over the airwaves, then it's just a bunch of freaking information flying everywhere. It's really hard to pinpoint, like, oh, we got to get it from his house here. It's just floating around.
This is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory when he did the TV and he minimized Mike, right? The kid who
I'm on TV.
Correct. Yeah, Mike TV. That was the kid's name. I mean, and you saw the particles flying overhead.
Right.
It's essentially that without the radiation that's needed
They
to
can get
put
high
these
def
signals out there.
over
right?
the airwaves.
You
Yes.
can.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. But
And what I'm reading now is when it talks
this
about
type of technology, I mean, this is significantly farther down the road than just a
yeah.
high-def terrestrial TV signal.
And what I'm reading about now is quantum entanglement. So quantum entanglement is, think of it as like a permanent bond, right? So the quantum computers or individuals, you have, all of us here have some kind of quantum entanglement. I'm gonna use that term. We have a permanent bond where we have a shared memory, right? And it's built upon this experience right now. So regardless if we separate or not, we still have that same shared memory. That's the way quantum computing works. Is it has a shared memory of an interface at that period of time and can still transmit to that same type of quantum computer over distance and doesn't need the physical connection anymore because of the permanent entanglement, even after separation.
Yeah, I know. We don't understand, even pretend to begin to understand quantum entanglement because you can have a particle on the other side of the galaxy. And when you make a change to one, there's an instant change in the other one once they are entangled.
Which brings me to the question of, is this the universal consciousness that we have heard about, thought about, that there is a single human consciousness that ties us into all knowledge on the planet? Because some people will say, I mean, we know the CIA did remote viewing experiments. We know that the government did out-of-body experience experiments with human beings.
Yep.
And they've all come back and basically said there is a single source of knowledge in the world, right?
It's a source field. And that's
It's a
what
force
some
field?
people- it's
Source.
a source field.
I'm messing with them.
which some people relate to that energy being God.
Correct.
It's funny you bring this up because I've been reading a lot about this. Itzhak Bentov is the guy's name.
God bless you.
Stalking the Wild Pendulum. Look it up. He went to go make this public, and his plane just happened to fall out of the sky.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was about to say, we probably
Yes.
not going to see this.
How
Yeah.
How much
convenient.
money would be
Yes.
I mean,
lost?
that sounds like
It
he
is
might have had.
so cool that you brought this
Are you
subject
sure?
up because
You
because
sure he didn't
there-
just have like bad information on Hillary Clinton?
because we've talked a little bit about it before too, and he talked about Kundalini yoga.
Yes.
The resonance that your body
Chakras and
has.
frequencies.
Correct.
Yes.
There's a source field around your body that resonates 2 to 3 feet out from within your body. Think about pendulums. You can take 100 pendulums, and
They'll all sync.
Wait.
but when you put them within range of each other, and eventually they will all they experience resonance.
Now, you really want fun? Go look at what was done to music right after World War II. Music was retuned to a different hertz, right? And I want to make sure I get these right. I have them bookmarked. I just need to go find it.
What the hertz 7.63
No,
is the
400
Earth, with the Earth.
It went from, so that's the
resonates at.
Schumann resonance.
357.
It went from like 432 to 442. They retuned all music because the resonance and the frequency that music was tuned to was a healing potentially or beneficial frequency to the human body. I mean, look, this goes
it's so
deep.
cool
But
that
it
you
all,
brought
This
this
goes
up.
it all
deep.
goes off vibration
Well-
and how everything is all in tune and part of one
This goes-
master
Look,
design.
look.
This
Hey.
goes really deep because now if you start asking the question about what frequencies are out there, you start asking the question, why did they destroy all the church bells in World War II? Why did they take all the church bells out? What frequency was a church bell tuned to? And what did that do? The frequency part of this, as we start getting into quantum entanglement, it's a deep rabbit hole.
It really is. And Bentov, this is not a whack job individual. This guy, he created the cardiac catheter. Okay, and he was very familiar with all the harmonics between your brain, the resonating field, your heart, your spine. You got to, Caleb, you would love this stuff. I'll send you some links to some
Yeah, I
of the
wanna read
stuff
it.
I've been reading. It's fascinating. But look at all with the frequencies. Look at all of the. You put the sand on a plate and expose it to different frequencies,
Yes.
and the geometric patterns that emerge by themselves just when exposed to these frequencies. It's fascinating. But then you bring in all of the double slit experiment and all of that stuff, Kavan, where they say consciousness creates reality, because the particles, the smallest particles of matter, when you shoot them through the double slit,
They behave one way. And then when you view them,
they act like you think they should, but when not being viewed. So your consciousness actually makes the smallest particles of matter behave.
So it was 432 hertz. Music was tuned to 432 hertz. It was retuned to 440 hertz. So everything produced. I mean, there's even who did the song "Ring My Bell"? Like, there's discussions around that song being tuned out of the traditional frequency that music had been retuned to. And yeah, it's incredibly interesting to me to see all the technology changes that we will see in our lifetime, including down to small thermonuclear reactors that will be portable, that will be accessible for industrial use or small subdivision use. And the fun part is that the nuclear energy department for the United States government put this out on their social media. Hey, we now have one that's basically the size of a car. It'll fuel 10 homes for something like 50 years before it needs to be refueled.
And look, for all of us that now have $700 to $1,000 electric bills because of nonsense, right? This would be a great thing for us to invest in.
We're all going to need Doc Brown from Back to the Future to hijack some uranium in order for us to do this, but this is on the verge.
Yeah, y'all's thoughts are all wrong. We all get superpowers.
Cool.
That's the cool part. Which one will I get?
I believe yours is going to be flatulence. I fart in your general direction.
I already got that superpower.
But the crazy part about that release from the U.S. government's one of their Twitter sites, that was from 2021. That is 5 years old that they said we are developing portable nuclear power plants, whether it be for disaster relief, whether it be for military use, whether it be for industrial use. 5 years ago, they said we're close. And then all of a sudden, crickets. I wonder why.
Conceptually, it's the same thing as the guy who created the car that runs on water vapor.
Correct.
Yep.
Right? Once you have something like this that is going to make our lives more efficient, make life easier and less expensive, those people tend to evaporate.
Well, that's when you look at this, when they talk about thermonuclear power, that's what it is. Your depleted uranium, your energy rods, they don't just they generate energy, but they generate heat.
Correct.
That heat is used to boil water, which is used to roll and turn a turbine, which then generates electricity. And all the waste you have, as opposed to now where we have diesel or coal, all the waste you have is that one isotope of uranium. Much easier to transport.
It is clean energy. It's as clean as
The
clean
cleanest
can
you can
get.
get.
And on top of that, these are safe. They've got their own control systems to them. I mean, you're not looking at,
It's not Chernobyl.
And
Turning-
it said it's self-regulating as well.
Correct. So that's why when you look at these, you're going, man, the ability to do this, and this is to me the extrapolation of this idea. I love, Grant, when you said make life cheaper. Think about what this planet would look like if energy was free. Think about how little you would have to work if you weren't paying for energy. Whether it's the lights, whether it's the AC if you live in the south, whether it's the heat that, and you live in the north, whether it's the energy that goes into your car. I mean, just extrapolate the energy that it takes to get the truck full of food to your grocery store to keep the lights on and the AC there. We are an energy-centric and dependent economy.
Yeah. And it puts out 1.21
Gigawatts.
Yep.
Yeah, 1.20. So we can hit 88 miles an hour and go thump straight
We can
back.
go
I don't know that it's 1.21 gigawatts.
It's like
that was straight up Back to the Future. 1.21 gigawatts.
Let's see what it says.
No, but it does. It puts out enough energy that it doesn't need to be. I think it
How do
doesn't
you
need to be
refill it?
refueled for like 10 years.
What do you refill it with?
Uranium. Seriously,
I thought it
it's
said replace.
Do we
Yeah.
have to like?
you have to replace a new uranium core
what
to
do you
it.
do with the old uranium? Because usually you got to constantly cool it, and then if it gets out of its
So
containment center, then it kills
It
all
produces,
the
the small ones produce 1, and then the functioning models they have now, 20 megawatts of thermal energy. 1 to 20 megawatts.
I would like to say megawatt.
You just want to say mega. Anyway, they'd obviously have to build a system to get rid of whatever waste does come out of it. But if you think about the localization of this and the ability, I would love nothing more than to buy about 40 acres, have some select people buy one of these things and never pay an electric company ever in my life.
You want to
for
talk
heat,
about real off the
for
grid?
electricity? This is real off the grid. And this might be the even bigger thing, Grant.
The data centers
than,
even.
This
Yeah.
might be even bigger, though, than things becoming cheaper. You become fully independent of any other infrastructure.
Real freedom.
Why it won't happen.
Don't threaten me with a
can
good
see it.
time.
I can see it being utilized in a town area or the localized small communities and stuff. But for what you're talking about, another rabbit hole is solar. If you get how many ever acres you want and you build a little house or whatever and you put the solar panels on, that's
Well, yeah,
that's even cleaner.
here's the
No,
problem.
solar panel, your lifespan of your solar panels are 10 to 12 years if they're maintained properly. And then the lead acid or lithium battery packs you have to have. Solar is a massive drain, and the amount of copper and waste that's produced,
Yep.
So
it
nuclear
never
is
breaks
cleaner.
even.
Oh, nuclear is so much cleaner and so much more
wind,
efficient.
Solar and wind never break even. Wind is even worse because the continued hydraulic oil, fluids, lubricants,
Right.
the turbines themselves cannot be broken down. They're non-biodegradable. They have to be destroyed.
Good noise.
And it's a ton, the
Environmental
amount of
threat,
dead
yeah.
birds and all that it creates. Solar, the amount of acreage you have to have, like let's say you own 10 acres. If you want to have a true independent solar farm, you're going to have 2.5 acres of solar panels and all the metal and everything else covering that to where it's non-usable.
So this is what we're going to do. We're going to get a compound. We're going to buy a small personal nuclear power plant. We're not going to have any internet because everything is going to be quantumly entangled. And we're going to bring you on to more of this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio. Hour 2 of Implicit Bias Radio rolls on. I'm your host, Kevon Bordelon. Welcome back into the Mr. Lester's TSPL. And Mr. Lester's, man, has a deal for you.
I thought you were going to say the meats.
Well, they have the best steak. The only 5-star restaurant between New Orleans and Houston. Maybe the best steakhouse I've ever been in.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about everything that you get there,
Correct.
between the quality of meat, the quality of service, the quality of liquor, and the ability to smoke a pipe or cigar.
In the cigar lounge and
Yeah.
in the cigar dining room.
I concur.
Absolutely fantastic. And by the way, you want to know what kind of stuff they do? They do stuff like a Colonel Taylor flight in the month of August. 3 pours. Colonel Taylor small batch. Colonel Taylor rye and Colonel Taylor single barrel, uncut, unfiltered for take a guess how much, Paul Sabatier?
$5.
$25.
No.
$25 for the flight. I mean,
I haven't listened, so I don't know.
yeah, well,
It's been a while.
that sounds like it's a you problem.
It isn't a problem. Yes.
But that's okay. No, I mean seriously, where are you going to find
yeah.
where are you going to find those 3 pours for
Nowhere.
$25? Nowhere.
Maybe 1 pour.
I mean,
Maybe.
if you get
Maybe.
just the single barrel, uncut, unfiltered in most restaurants, it's going to be more than $25.
Yeah. I mean, you're looking probably $40 a pour for that.
Yeah. And they are doing a flight of the 3 for $25 during the month of August. You know what else they found, Caleb? I think they found like a case or 2 of Implicit Barrel. So if
Really?
you're looking for a bottle, yes, if you were looking for a bottle of Implicit Barrel, the single barrel 1792, we were a part of the pick, and we were thrilled to be a partner with Mr. Lester's on that barrel. I think there's like maybe 8-9 bottles left. They've got a few. You can get them in the restaurant for $50. You can get them in the gift shop. What, as Eddie Murphy would say, what a bargain! Talk about a great bottle for the price.
Ridiculously great bottle.
What were we going to talk about this segment? Because we had something fun teed up.
Miracle
Oh, yeah.
Lago.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ring the bell. All right. So it appears the conspiracy theorists were right yet again, Grant Galatas. Yet again. So Joe DiGenova is running the investigation into
How do you say that name?
DiGenova, I believe.
Oh, okay.
What, you
No,
got
that
it?
works for me. That's good.
DiGenova, you. Anyway, Joe DiGenova is running the investigation into what has been deemed as Spygate. Basically, what many believe, including some here in the Mr. Lester's Top Secret Podcast lair, was an illegal raid of a former president's home looking for documents that president said, hey, I have every right to have these because they're mine.
They were by my Corvette.
No, they weren't in his Corvette like Joe Biden,
Oh.
who had no idea that he had a Corvette at the time. Anyway,
Yeah, like most Corvette owners.
DiGenova DeGenova has apparently issued invitations to FBI agents who were involved in the process of approving and executing the raid on a former president's home. Thoughts in the TSPL?
They are voluntary. Voluntary questionings, not interrogations.
Is it really?
It's not really a subpoena. It's like, hey, we're not mandating that you come here, but we're requesting sternly.
Wait, you're dating men?
Only on Thursdays.
Okay, you said mandating. Okay, anyway. Here's my question. For those who have worked for large companies, employers that aren't yourself, we've been all given, quote, invitations, close quote, that aren't really invitations, are they?
No, it's highly recommended.
Correct. Highly recommended that you come in. So the denotation, the definition of this is that it is voluntary. What's the connotation? What's the inference here? Bueller.
If you don't come, you're gonna get forced to come.
Correct. Yeah, see, even Sabatier gets it, right? Which is, we're going to tell you this is voluntary. You can either come in and do this to yourself, or we're going to make you.
The real term for that is voluntold.
This reminds me of when my father used to say, you can go get the switch, or I will go get the switch. Which do you want?
Do they not have enough for a subpoena? Why go this? Why go this softer route? If you want to dig into something,
I have a theory.
Come on in and have a chat, or how about come sit your ass in the chair? Are we going to subpoena?
I have a theory, and my theory is this. My theory is that there were a lot of people involved in this raid. I mean, we don't know how many people went into the president's home.
Oh, it was a production. It was all over the TV.
Whoa,
it was, it was a beautiful production.
Wait, say that again.
Oh, no, it was a production.
It was
art.
It was produced.
Cinema.
It was produced, right?
It's
like
not like they
January
would
6th.
hire somebody else to spin a rhetoric or anything.
Which
like
means that the media knew it was coming. There were probably at a minimum of 50 people involved in the search of Mar-a-Lago. That's at a minimum.
No. If there were 50 people that were actually there on grounds, you have to think there were 3 to 4 per. So that means there were 200 people that were involved with the planning, preparation, and execution of this.
So this is my theory. My theory is you have hundreds of people. Some people were doing what they were told to keep their jobs, and they were at the lowest level. I don't want to say they're not guilty, but what I do want to say is they're not the mastermind behind the plot. And to me, the goal in this is to, number one, not punish anyone who doesn't need undue punishment. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be punished. What I'm saying is maybe their lives shouldn't be effectively ended, like their career ended, their financial situation ended because of this, but maybe they need a slap on the wrist.
You're also you're projecting, because you're basing it off the fact that you think that most of them were just complying to save face.
I didn't say most. I said some.
Well, even some. Look at Ruby Ridge. We just had an anniversary of Ruby Ridge, right?
Agreed.
We had ATF agents who shot and killed an innocent woman while holding their child. We had others who shot and killed a young man who was trying to defend himself as they trespassed on his property. So the vast majority of government employees shouldn't be government employees. I'll say that on the radio.
I don't
and everything
disagree.
else. And I think that most of them are there because they can't do anything else meaningful in the civilian sector.
I think our bar has a bottle with the word that is being offered here by the invitation, and it's redemption. I think they are giving the opportunity. Yeah, Sabatier found the bottle first right away. I think some people are being offered an opportunity at redemption here. And it's, look, if you really weren't guilty, if you were really against this and you really would like to have a conversation, come on in. If not, here's the line.
It's how any investigation progresses.
Agreed.
You grab a small fish and squeeze them a little bit and try and get bigger fish, and you just work your way up the ladder.
I don't disagree one bit.
So come sit down. Let's have a chat.
I think it's that simple. Come in with your attorney, sit down, let's have a chat. They'll tell you what's on the table. I mean, look, this even goes... Do y'all remember when we did the story about Pappygate at Buffalo Trace?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a long time.
So for those who don't know what happened, it's just such an interesting story. The distillery figures out that someone is stealing Pappy Van Winkle. And they believe they have the man who's done it because they have lots of evidence. So they bring people in and say, hey, look, anyone who has any information about what's going on, come on in, have a conversation. We are offering you full immunity. So they bring everybody in, and finally they bring this guy in, and he sits down. And they said, okay, what do you know? And he goes,
Sorry, Elizabeth Warren's killing me in the background.
Yeah, I know. They're banging on something outside the TSPL. So this guy says, look, I want immunity in writing. Fine, you got it. They put 100% immunity in writing. He goes, man, I'm just glad that y'all can't prosecute me now. I'll tell you everything. I stole all the Pappy Van Winkle. They thought they had the right guy and didn't. And when they offered the immunity, this guy took him up on the offer and could not be prosecuted, and he was the real thief. I get the feeling that you're offering some of that here, hopefully not too much, because if the person comes in who was the mastermind, at that point you're like, oh.
Yeah, but they were operating blind because they didn't realize he was the mastermind. In this one, you can pretty much, it's pretty publicized, so you can pretty much figure who the low-level guys were and just work your way up from there.
I don't disagree. It is a little different.
Pappygate, that was beautiful. That guy, I mean, he worked it out nicely for himself.
But what you have to look at Mar-a-Lago is a federal judge approved the search warrant based off of what he said was probable cause. And the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, said he approved the decisions to go out, seek, and pursue this warrant.
Oh, Merrick Garland's hands are filthy in this. When you start to look at everything that's involved, almost as filthy as Walker is when he comes back from a day at the tire shop. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come right back. We will bring you the penultimate segment of this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio. The vaccine is not a vaccine on this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio. Don't trust us, trust the Ninth Circuit. I'm your host, Kevon Bordelon. Welcome back into the Mr. Lester's TSPL, where we are sipping on a whiskey from New News Market, part of the Implicit Bias Liquor Collective. And yes, we are solving the problems of the world. We're probably 4 in now. Anyway, Caleb Morse is here. He is the Rustic Renegade. Grant Galatas of William S. Nacall Jewelers, who does big a bet of diamonds for less, is with us. And of course, Paul Sabatier of Superior Audio Video. Superior AV for all of your custom AV needs. Like if you want the stuff and the setup as we get ready for football season, call Superior AV. Okay.
Do you do whole home intercoms? Like, can I yell at people I'm on the toilet?
I don't think you need it, but yeah.
Okay, well.
You could.
Hey, who are you to determine what I need?
You put speaker out to your neighbor.
Okay.
We'll have a video transmitter.
Just for the faces. All right.
All over the nanotechnology.
Yes.
All right. So the Ninth
different.
Circuit is making waves. And I don't mean like little waves. I mean like big waves. So one of the big debates during the COVID, I'm going to use air quotes and call it a pandemic, during COVID was, is the vaccine an approved vaccine or is it emergency approval? And what was the big benefit to being an approved vaccine by the U.S. government? Anybody remember what that was? Anybody
Money.
remember what the big benefit was?
Oh, it wasn't money?
Immunity?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Say that again, Paul.
Immunity?
What do you mean immunity?
Liability, right?
I don't know. Just Bubble Boy popped. He's got no immunities.
Okay, so immunity from lawsuit
Yes.
against liability for side effects for said vaccine. Well, now a lawsuit from Los Angeles argued that the COVID vaccines did not, in fact, function as a vaccine, but in fact did exactly what the messaging said. Because if you remember, those goalposts, they moved.
Oh, constantly.
Look, they
I was
moved like an NBA dance team, right? They were all over the place.
I was intrigued how they said one of the main side effects of this vaccine in particular was boiling breast implants.
Wait, what?
No, I made that up.
Okay, I was about to say, I even find that hard to believe. Here's the problem. If you remember, they said take the vaccine, you won't get sick.
No, you won't.
Then
It'll
they
stop
said,
it all.
Then they said, and they said take the vaccine and nobody else will get sick.
Yep, it stops the spread.
Correct. Stops the spread. That was the
Yeah.
term. Then they said, we'll take the vaccine and it won't be as bad.
Yeah.
Hold on. As we quoted earlier, hold up. Wait a minute. That by definition is not a vaccine. It is a treatment. But they had to put the vaccine label on it in order to give immunity from liability to the manufacturers.
Well, and
So they
that's
couldn't be sued for adverse side effects.
the plaintiffs in this case, I'm reading this verbatim, allege that the COVID vaccines primarily mitigated symptoms rather than effectively preventing transmission, therefore shouldn't receive the same constitutional treatment as the smallpox vaccine mandated, upheld in this other case. And the court accepted the plaintiff's factual allegations as fact, as truth. Now, the court didn't say that by constitutional definition they weren't vaccines. They said via the way that they were employed and deployed upon the populace, they did not meet the definition of a vaccine in regards to limitation of liability.
All that means, though, is that it started there, and then it kept going up to different circuits all the way up till it got to the Ninth Circuit.
So
Yes.
it started, yes, at a local court. It has gotten to the Ninth Circuit. And trust me, now that the Ninth Circuit has ruled against Big Pharma, this is going to the Supreme Court. This is not done yet. That's why I say according to the Ninth Circuit. Big Pharma is going to fight this. Why? Because if Big Pharma
Billions.
is held liable for all side effects, think about the VAERS system, the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, right? That's what VAERS stands for. Think about what we now know, thanks to RFK, about the VAERS reporting. And thanks, by the way, to Anthony Fauci, who acknowledged all the VAERS reporting in his communications. Think about all the adverse reactions that people had and all the adverse events after receiving the vaccine, which means that now all of a sudden the populace would potentially have the ability to go after Big Pharma for damages. This would make the big tobacco suit look like a Judge Wapner dispute on the People's Court.
I was going to say night court.
It could be not, yeah, but at least Marky Post looked good. So I mean that that was
when we look at
enjoyable
it-
to watch. This would not be.
Did COVID really like pull the wool off of most people's eyes? Did they finally wake up and say, well, the government's trying to manipulate you and use you, and you're just a good little taxpayer, and that's all they care about? Because I think that the majority of people that I talk to, and look, this isn't everyone, but the majority of people that I talk to, post-COVID, do not trust the government and anything the government says.
And how culpable is the government in all of this? Because Big
Well-
Pharma, Big Pharma was acting at the behest of the government to get some sort of vaccine out to the public because of the scale. So as usual, does the government say, "Hey, we got nothing to do with this"?
Well,
after the fact,
here's the problem.
they walk away
Please
as
don't,
usual, scot-free.
Please don't believe me on this, but you wonder, is the government culpable or is Big Pharma culpable? Because now there are documents out there, please don't believe us on this, that show payments of millions of dollars to the CDC from Big Pharma. Can the case be made that Big Pharma saw, and look, this is the other part of this. Go look at the projections, the revenue projections from 2016, 2017, 2018 from Big Pharma, and did they include a massive, if not abnormal, chunk of their revenue coming from vaccine platforms?
Well, look at all
so
the
you
money.
can make the argument that they planned for it. They bought off government officials in order to keep their protected status so they could make their money.
Look at all the local pharmacies that were receiving all these incentives to go out and just give people the stab, right? And they were given the vaccine and billing the government, giving the vaccine, billing the government, and doing that nonstop. And all of a sudden, people stopped dying from other natural causes. During COVID, I don't think anyone died of car wrecks. Everyone died of COVID-induced lack of ability to drive, right? Everything was COVID-induced. So it was COVID-induced pneumonia, COVID-induced gunshot to the head, COVID-induced this, COVID-induced that.
You did have an incident in the state of Washington where the Washington State Secretary of Health admitted in a news conference that there was a person who was shot, died, and the cause of death was listed as COVID-19.
Because that hospital benefited from it.
Maybe it was
Well-
COVID 9 by 19.
It might have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. 9 millimeter by 19.
But
Yeah.
There's just too many implications of every aspect of this. Like, okay, well, your politicians, where do they get their money from? You know, they have all this out-of-state money coming in the politicians' accounts because that they want somebody to win. Texas is a perfect example of that. It needs to stop. Like all the extra, the funding of, hey, well, you do this and I do this, and it's a back scratch. It's they're laundering money. That's all they're doing. and it's freaking ridiculous.
And it's done in the name of lobbying.
yeah, that
It's done
100%.
in the name of campaign contributions. It's done so many ways. And therein lies one of the really big issues, which is, first of all, I am of the opinion you can limit terms for U.S. representatives and senators.
Senators shouldn't even be elected by us.
I agreed, but you can still limit terms. Like you cannot have somebody appointed more than so many years, but yet you up their salaries to a point where they shouldn't have to worry financially ever again. I mean, think
They
about the
should
money
be-
that
their
you,
salary should be off of what their average income in their district or state is, so that they should be wanting to make their constituents better, more wealthy, whatever, so that they can be.
but then you're trying to deal with somebody who comes from a relatively low income area that has to live in DC. It's not feasible, right? But if you make the payments $3 to $5 million a year per representative, per senator, now all of a sudden buying them off becomes a little more difficult.
You think that's all it would take?
Yes. Because when they're guaranteed 6 years of when you're guaranteed $30 million, are you going to walk in? It's not necessarily that it makes
You're
that it's
also-
that little. It's that it makes people buying you. It makes you that much more expensive
It
to
makes
buy.
them that much more expensive to purchase.
Correct.
Like
Yeah.
$174,000 a year in the Congress. It's not much. You know what else isn't much?
Yeah,
the
but
amount of time we have left.
They're making
on
way
this
more
week's.
than the average person in their
Not always.
most of the, not Hollywood or New York.
We will be right back on this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio. Final segment of this week's episode for Implicit Bias Radio. Grant Galatas thinks he's smart at the bar, and he might be smart, but it's
Never
yeah.
in danger of that. Don't worry. I fell off a chair a little while ago.
Okay. The funny part is it's true. All right, we do need to tell you really quickly in this final segment about a very special happening with
yes.
regards to Implicit Bias Radio, September 17th. Go get your tickets now because they will not last. There will not be a ton. Tickets are $30 and $50 or
You have, to buy 'em,
$35.
you have to buy them in person too, correct?
You do. Tickets are $35. Is it 35 and or 50 or
It's 35 and 50.
35 and 50? Yep.
If you buy them through us, they're 125 and 200.
Yes.
But if you show up in person, 35 and 50.
So here is
Overhead.
Heaven Hill Night. No, they are 30 and 50.
Oh, there you go.
It's
See,
$30 and $50. $50 is the VIP ticket. This is a tasting at Ambassador Wine and Spirits. You get to sit, sip, and shoot with the crew. Because the crew will be there. We will have tons of fun. Heaven Hill will be there as well. And you are going to get, and this is subject to change. If it changes, we promise it's changing for the
I
better.
saw that list.
Old Fitz 7-year as a taste. Larceny, a barrel pick from Ambassador Wine and Spirits, which
Stop
means
it.
it's going to be a cask strength. The Elijah Craig Sportsman's Paradise barrel proof. The Heaven Hill grain to glass weeded. The Henry McKenna 10 single barrel. And Widow Jane Lucky 13. Talk about an offering. And by the way, why is there a $50 VIP ticket? With the $50 VIP ticket, you get a bottle.
I mean, think about it. A bottle of, they didn't say what they're giving out.
We don't know
Yeah,
exactly
it'll be
what
a
it is just
surprise.
yet, but it's not going to be junk.
Yeah, I mean, think about it this way. If you buy the $30 ticket, what are you going to get for a good whiskey that's $20?
Not much.
So
So you might as well go just get the $50 ticket. And look, it's going to be a fun night, 7 to 9 p.m. at Ambassador Wine and Spirits, September 17th. You have to go to Ambassador Wine and Spirits to buy your tickets, but get them now because they're going fast.
And look, if you're not local and you want to come hang out with us and have a good time, come down and see the selection that we have down here. Come see what the Acadiana has to offer. Come see what the Implicit Bias Whiskey Collective puts out there for all of our listeners.
It really is something special to see. Speaking of something special,
Thank you.
don't flatter yourself. We had tons of fun as we outlined, and Grant agreed with how exactly Daniel LaRusso was the bad guy in The Karate Kid. The instigator from the beginning, that he is the one who created all the problems, that Johnny was trying to avoid everything until Daniel sucker punched him. The whole kit and caboodle. Grant, thank you for finally agreeing to that.
You are very welcome. I'm glad my eyes were finally opened to that obvious glaring error in cinematic history.
The best part of that is the reactions that we have gotten to that have been fantastic. Like, we put it out on social media, people going back and forth, and it's always fun because these are things where I'd love to say that we're both right or we're both wrong, but either way can be right or wrong in these, and that's what I like about it.
We can all
Same
agree that
thing.
the crane kick is useless.
It was an illegal kick. That's what we can agree with. We can all agree it was an illegal kick.
Poor Johnny was just trying to get back with his girl.
That's what he was trying to do. See, Paul caught it. All right. The Wizard of Oz might have been a similar scenario, right? The Wizard of Oz being a story that was meant to represent so much more. So I want to run through this because it's too much for me to just remember right off the top of my head. But maybe it was what was being hidden from us was trying to be exposed in that movie. So The Wizard of Oz, and I'm trying to remember exactly when it came out, but remember, follow the yellow brick road. When did this country really start to go off the rails? When we went off of what?
We went to China making our product.
The gold
Way
standard.
before that, the gold standard.
Yep.
Right?
The
yellow brick
petrodollar.
road, the petrodollar. So the yellow brick road was the right road. It was the road that led to prosperity, the road that led us where we were supposed to go. But we went off of it, right? The straw man. Now this is interesting because there's a lot of theory legally around this. We are not attorneys, so we don't know, but it's interesting. The straw man was not a real man. He was a legal creation. He got a certificate instead of a brain, much like we receive a birth certificate,
A degree.
right? That certifies, in all caps, our birth certificate certifies that we are a person, not a human being. The Tin Man, 10, taxpayer identification number, which I think that's stretching it just a bit, right? But the Tin Man, if you walk it down, soulless machine, worked until it froze and collapsed, the symbol of the worker that becomes rusted out by nonstop taxation and labor.
When you go through and actually look at the book, it's even better because it's all about the gold standard, right? And then based off of free market silver that was going to be used to pay down debts. So when you look at it, gold versus silver, America's fighting over what should bring its money to. Under the gold standard, the money supply was constrained by gold. Many farmers and debtors favored free silver, expanding the money supply through silver coinage, which they hope would produce inflation, raise commodity prices, and make debts easier to pay. Then you have Dorothy literally traveling along a road made of gold toward the seat of political power. Gold itself doesn't ultimately solve the problem. In the book, what color were her shoes?
Red.
Silver.
Oh, they were silver
They
in the
were
book?
changed. They were changed to red for Technicolor. So silver as her shoes is what actually brought her back to reality.
But you still had to go through the government.
Okay, this is a fun one. Well, hold on, because the wizard was a whole nother part of this, right? The wizard was smoke, fire, a giant
Yep.
hologram, but behind the curtain, just a scared little man. A perfect metaphor for modern government. It's the illusion of authority. It's backed by and pushed by fear. No real power once the curtain is pulled back.
The threat of violence.
Correct. Which is led by the Wicked Witch, who controls the flying monkeys. Intimidation, threats, fear.
Do the laugh,
melts. She melts when exposed to what? The truth.
Water.
And lawful jurisdiction. Water. I'm melting. Yeah. My
I'm
point
waiting for
is,
Walker to laugh still.
this even brings me back to, and we can talk about this one on another episode, the movie Boomerang. Grant, you said this could be done with basically anything. Do y'all remember Martin Lawrence was one of the friends in the movie Boomerang of Eddie Murphy?
I keep thinking of Blank Man, so no, I don't remember Boomerang at all.
Blank Man was Damon Wayans,
Okay,
which was
okay.
hysterical. Boomerang, though, you remember they were playing pool? And Martin Lawrence had a theory about the game of billiards. The green felt represents the earth. The white ball knocks all the different colors off the table and it's over. I mean, literally, that's where they went in the movie, and you're like, okay, how far are we? Can we just find patterns in everything we look at? Or is there someone out there really trying to tell us, hey, open your eyes?
Well, human beings are especially adept at finding patterns. We're better at recognizing patterns than computers are, right? That is a scientific fact. So, will we see something when nothing is really there? Absolutely, because something's always there.
So what you're saying is that
the number
everything happens
23.
for a reason.
Yes.
The number 23.
Yes.
Tell me more. What do you mean the number 23?
It's a Jim Carrey's crazy movie from the back in the
Yeah,
90s
yeah.
ish, 2000. Early
It's not like a
2000s.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's another one where it's
Well, that was 42.
yeah, it's another take on it where number 23, according to this movie, was the ultimate truth in the galaxy.
We will have to figure that out. All I ever knew 23 was is Michael Jordan. So we will come back with Implicit Bias Radio next week. Get bonus content on Buzzsprout. Subscribe, like, follow, tell your friends, and tell them you can't wait for more of your Implicit Bias. Cheers, and we'll see you in 7.